Hello friends, welcome to Java interview question chapter number 2. Today our topic is constructor. So we'll see how many questions can come from the constructor side. So here we are. What is constructor? Difference between method and constructor. Call one constructor from other. Call superclass constructor. What happen if no constructor is present? What if you have already parameterized constructor? So before starting the session, I'll just see the question I asked in my previous session. That is the puzzle question I asked. Let's see that question. So the question was, suppose you have 8 balls and a 2 pan balance used to compare the weight of two things. All of the balls weigh the same except for one, which is heavier than all of the others. How would you find the heaviest ball if you are only allowed to weigh the ball two times? Okay. So answer for this question is, so let's name the balls 1 to 8. First we weigh 1 to 3 on the left and 4, 5, 6 on the right. There are three scenarios which can arise from this. If the left side is heavier, then we know that 1 of 1 to 3 is the heavier ball. So we'll take 1 and 2 in the right side. 1 in the left side and 2 in the right side. By doing this, we'll know if 1 or 2 is heavier. If they balance out, then 3 is the heavier one. So in the second chance only you'll able to know. Second scenario, so if the right side is heavier, then out of 4, 5, 6, 1 will be the heavier. So we'll weigh 4 on the left and 5 on the right. By doing this, we'll know if 4 or 5 is heavier. If they balance out, then 6 is the heavier one. Let's see now if both are balanced. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 are balanced. That means heavier is in 7 or 8. So then we know either 7 or 8 is the heavier one. So we'll weight 7 on the left side and 8 on the right side. And we'll easily come to know which is the heavier. So in two chance only we'll come to know the heavier ball. Okay, we'll move to the session now. So our first question was, what is constructor? Constructor in Java is a special type of method that is used to initialize the object. Okay, so Java constructor is invoked at the time of object creation. So basically it constructs the object and we pass data to the object. So when we are creating the object, at that time only we'll pass the values to the object. So that's why it is known as constructor. What is the difference between constructor and regular method? Constructor must have the same name as the class name and cannot return a value. The constructors are called only once per creation of the object, while regular method can be called many times. So example for a pet.class constructor will be public pet. So you can see no return type is there. If you write void here, that means this is not a constructor, this is a method. So interviewer can confuse on this one. We'll see some questions at the end of this session. So in regular method can have any name and can be called any number of times. Okay. So for pet.class, we can write public void pet. So introduced void means it is a method with return type void. So better naming convention is to have a meaningful name starting with a lowercase. So here just to show the example, we named it in the caps pet, but it should be in small letter, that is small p e t. Okay. So for this public void create pet. Okay. Regular method has a void return type. Okay. We'll see the next question. Can you call one constructor from another? So answer is yes. Using this we can call. So we'll see one example on this. So we have suppose speed class and we want to call this constructor from this parameterized constructor. So we use this ID, so it will call this speed. Okay. How to call superclass constructor? Very simple. We can just use super keyword. So if suppose a class called high speed extends your speed class, then you can use keyword super to invoke superclass constructor. We'll see the example. Here we are. So high speed extends super. So we can directly call super ID that will call the superclass constructor. Note: to call a regular method in a superclass, use super dot my test method. So if suppose there is one method in speed class, you want to call it from high speed class, you can use directly super dot my test method. So this can be asked by your interviewer that how to call superclass method. Now we are moving to some interesting part. Compiler generated constructor code. So we have, suppose you are writing some code and what compiler does for you. We'll see this example. So suppose you wrote class speed, what compiler will do for you? Compiler will write this much code for you. What it is doing? It is creating speed constructor and with the super constructor call. Okay, let's see this example. Now you can guess what compiler can create for you. You have class speed and constructor speed. Compiler will create this much code for you. Again, if you have public class speed, in that case, compiler will create this thing. Okay, move to the next example. Now we have class speed and we have parameterized constructor. So will the compiler will create a default constructor for you now? Answer is no. It will simply call the superclass constructor, but it will not create a default constructor for you. Okay, same in this method. Let's see how many of you can answer this. So we have class speed, void speed. So will the compiler will create the constructor, default constructor? Yes, because it's not a default constructor. It's a method. We have return type void. So this is a method, not the constructor. So for that, compiler will create this much. So it will create a constructor and call to the super constructor. Okay. Let's see this example now. What if you have already parameterized constructor? So here I have parameterized constructor and I'm calling high speed super. So I'm calling default constructor of the speed class. So we have seen the previous example, if you already have a parameterized constructor, then compiler will not create default constructor for you. So this will give a exception. So let's see this example now. So we have high speed class extend speed. We didn't write anything here. So automatically compiler will create this portion, high speed, super high speed. So this also calling the super class default constructor, but we don't have default super constructor. And as we have parameterized constructor already present, compiler will not create a default constructor for you. So this will also give a compilation error. And what error it will give? It will give cannot resolve symbol constructor speed. That is a default constructor. So it will give a compilation error anyhow. Okay. So that's all for this session constructor. Hope it is very much clear to you now. We'll see one puzzle question that is from Java only today. So here the question is, we have two class my test 1. So we are trying to print something hello and Java here. Now through command line, if I run Java, suppose it is compiled already. Now I'm trying to run this Java my test 1, both in the same line. So what will be our output? Just pause this video and just try to run this and see what will be the output. We'll see the answer in our next upcoming video. Let's see what are the next chapter topics are. So next chapter we'll discuss about abstract class, concrete class and interface, and then we'll discuss about the difference between abstract class and interface. We'll see the advantage of using abstract class and interface. We'll compare both abstract class and interface. So till that time, bye bye, see you, and if you need any help, anything you want, just put the comment in the downside. We'll surely try to help you. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.